So I just took a few seconds.
Hey, everybody in YouTube land. Because we don't have our logo, we don't have our jingle together yet. So until we get our jingle together, we're just going to have to do it. We gotta do it live, as Bill O'Reilly used to say. We're gonna do it live. We're just gonna do it live. So welcome to Why Are You Single Saturday? Featuring.
The wonderful Christopher Andrews. Thank you very much, Courtney, for having me. It's always a pleasure to connect with you. Always.
Oh my gosh, we got a blower, or we have a watcher. We got to do something for us because I do glowers for me. So we have to put up your CNCs, put up your cocktails, anything that starts with a C. Put it up in the room. Hey,
This is
Asia.
my cocktail for today.
I like it, right? Anything that starts with C. You can put up some corn. I'm corny. You can put up. What can you put up? You can put
Cold
up
water.
what?
Cold water.
Yes, that's good. And you got some. You know what? I have a thermos that says C on it. So yes, welcome. Oh, a car. She put up a car. I love it. So yeah, y'all put up anything that starts with the C up in here. Welcome to our premiere of the CNC show, and that is our educator activist, Mr. Wonderful Chris Andrews, coming live from Miami, Florida, y'all. And that's what's funny too, but we're gonna get into that later. That we have the Miami connection, the Malcolm connection. Let me find out you love manicotti, and we gonna just M this thing all the way out, brother. Our Michael Jordan, because that he's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
And me, of course, we have Courtney Omega. You guys know me from the Glow Show. We glow live every Wednesday at 5, and we know me from my F-Bomb Fridays. A big shout out again to Miss Elite yesterday for coming through big time with F-Bomb Friday, because y'all, I was preoccupied. She literally had to man the show very much by herself for a lot of the show, but she was a real trooper, and she actually ended up doing a live at about 3:00 in the morning, and I hopped on that, so she's a supporter, and so I'm going to support too. So thank you all again for coming for our premiere. Y'all, we doing it live. I know. So if some of y'all got the surprise and it just dropped in the inbox out of nowhere, charge it to the game. There was a lot going on yesterday. So we want to welcome you, and we want to just we want to get to it. We're not going to play no games or pull no punches. We want to get to it.
Okay, so as Courtney stated, I am Christopher Andrews. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I'm currently an educator here in the metro Atlanta area. And what we're doing is we want to delve a little bit deeper into why we're single, for those who are single. Right now, I'm currently a single young man here in the Atlanta area. We're not here to really point the finger at why you think you're single. I believe I'm here to sort of explain and reveal why I think I'm single, and I'll try to, use it as a learning experience. And I believe Courtney may be here for the same reasons as well. So again, this isn't us pointing a finger like, oh, you're single because you do this or you don't do that. This is me expressing to you all some of my shortcomings, some of the things that happened in the past, some of the instances where I had to be a little bit more mature, some of the instances where I wasn't moving as fast, things of that nature. So I believe we're here to discuss today just a few reasons why we believe that we're currently single, and then hopefully that could help you all in your reflective mode, and help you not fall into some of the same mistakes and things of that nature. So, Courtney, what does she have for us?
I I love that. Thank you so much, Chris. And so for everyone to kind of understand, Chris and I are colleagues. We are not brother and sister. Someone already asked me that. No, we are not. And hey,
they see the resemblance.
right. Malcolm is the resemblance. We are colleagues. We are comrades. I'm doing all the C's. You like that, Chris? You see, I got the educator in me too. I'm doing the C's.
That's alliteration. That's alliteration, where you're using various words using the same letters or beginning sounds. So
I love him because he's so smart, right? So we're colleagues, we're comrades, and we were just having all of these like really dope conversations between the two of us of what's going on with the scene, with relationships, what's going on in these YouTube streets. Let me tell you, no, we can't solve a single problem because Chris isn't he's going to talk about it later. I'm not going to put him on the spot, but Chris is he's not single, but he's almost a relationship. I'm going to put him out there, but I'm single. I am single. I am celibate. I am living, getting ready for the king because I know the king is coming. But next month will mark my 6th year of celibacy. Count them, you all. 6 years. So, Miss Elite is here. Miss Elite is here. And I love it that you're joining in, because when I mentioned last night that we were going to be doing our Why Are You Single Saturday, she was like, I think I'll be back for that one. You are totally welcome to be back for this one, Miss Elite. Right. So brother CK has it right. Screen learning. We not single. So the style should be, why are you single Saturday? Well, literally, me and Chris, we've been having these really dope conversations, right, in regards to relationships and our time at FAMU, kind of what that looked like, what relationships looked like when he was at FAMU as opposed to me. I got married while I was at FAMU, so I think that was also kind of interesting when we connected. And then what single looks like in Miami. Miami is Netflix and chill zone. I just want to tell y'all that. Y'all are Netflix and chill capital of like America.
Hey, why you have to do the hometown like that?
Bruh, Chris, I have never been invited to so many nun dates in my life. Nun dates.
I think that's because people are scared to be transparent sometimes and make their intentions well known. Maybe those dudes didn't have the same intentions for you as you hope they would have. So I mean, on a conscience level, they couldn't really plan a date for you like that if they only saw you in the lens of Netflix and chill. Like, okay, this woman, I want to hit her up, entertain her every once in a while, and maybe we'll watch a movie or something like that. But if you weren't willing to take that next step, per se, that could have led to why that certain dude of a certain caliber, he wasn't consistent, or he didn't hit you up again after that attempt, and then that led to the next attempt and the next attempt and the next attempt. I think like we discussed in private, sometimes men sometimes we don't really want to move too fast and place a label on things. So we sometimes will hang out and we find ourselves, hanging out with the same woman, or the same woman for an extended period of time. And then eventually you get hit with the question, well, what are we? But you've literally been thinking in this frame, like, okay, we're just gonna get something to eat, chill, and talk real quick. We're gonna do all that. So yeah, I feel you, Courtney, I just love Miami with all my heart, so I'm biased.
You do. You are a Miami mama's boy if I ever met one. Somebody private chatted me just now and asked me, are we in the same house? Y'all, we are not. I promise y'all, we are not just playing like we're not in a relationship. We're not. We're not.
No,
We're
no.
not even in the same part of the city right now. They're like, are y'all in the same house? Y'all just playing? No, we're not. We're not.
No,
my children are upstairs. So if you hear things, my children are upstairs, not Chris.
Yeah. That's a good thing, you know.
Okay, so CER says some people just don't know how to plan dates well. Would you agree to that? Would you agree to that, Chris?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. At this juncture, I'm 30 years old, turning 31 next month, and at this juncture, you have to put some thought into it. If you really like the woman, put a little thought to it. Don't just take her on these little escapades and adventures that anybody could. I mean, anybody could hit her up and say, "All right, let's go get some pizza. Let's go to Applebee's," something like that. Put a little bit of thought into it. Like if you know that, for instance, she's all people like to eat, and if you know that she likes to eat, she's into nature, she's into gardening, things of that nature. um you could take her out, let her pick strawberries. That would be a thoughtful gift. If she likes strawberries, she wants to be out in nature, it's something different. Take her out of the ordinary. Take her somewhere out of the house. Show her a different part of the city. And a lot of these things, truth be told, Courtney, I've noticed are free or don't really cost that much to switch it up. You just got to find different things to do. And if she's worth it, then you should put that thoughtfulness into it. Like, don't, you know, get to learn her, and then try to plan activities that would be more aligned with her interests, you know, and yours. But you get what I'm trying to say.
Now I agree. And the first nun date I was invited to was actually, you know what? Funny, oddly enough, this was kind of in your neck of the woods, Chris. It was I used to go to the barbershop down there in where Little Caesar. What, you know what I'm talking about? It was a barbershop that used to be there.
You're talking about down south?
Yeah.
You might be talking about around 160th, like Colonial.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. After the falls, right after the falls.
Yeah.
That was like the major, like little hub or whatever. And the barber was pretty, you know, cute or what have you. So we were vibing. And he was like, he called me and he said, did you and I'm like, well, after work, you get off like super, super late. And he's like, yeah, I was thinking we could go across the street to the park. And I'm like, the dog park? Like, dude, what are you trying to tell me? And it's late. Like, what do you, he was like, yeah, well, I'm going to have to walk my pit. And I was thinking maybe we could go and, you know, I'm like, who walks a pit? I thought that people had the high pits in my.
No, Courtney, it sounds like he was trying to do, you know, everything in stride. So you would have been a woman of convenience, you know. You have to, they say you make time for the things that you want to make time for. So if that woman is special enough, then you have to, as a man, find some sort of way to carve out that little bit of time, or, you know, have your affairs in order to the extent where you know where you're free and you can carve out that, you know, special time to hang out with her or do a special activity or embark on something new with her. So that's what I would say about that. You have to be mindful when you're dealing with these situations. You know, I already know that myself, I'm an overthinker. So I know if I don't contact a woman till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Already, I already know in my head that she's thinking, okay, this brother is just trying to tap something real quick, or he's not really talking about much, or he up to no good or something like that. I'm not saying, I mean, you fit it in and get it in how you live, but you have to be mindful about the way you present certain things. I mean, always keep it real, always be transparent with your intentions from the get go. But there's just certain hours of the day where when you talk about doing certain things, especially with someone new, it can sort of raise a red flag. So I get what you mean, Courtney.
We are getting calls. People said, "Wow, this is why I was cut because." She called me. She said, my internet connection is so wobbly, but this is such a good topic. Y'all are loving this. Thank y'all so much for showing up. But she said, I'm single. This is a rise and shine. She said, I'm single because I want to be. Let's talk about that. Is this just really the era? Is this the generation of people that are just choosing to be single because it's no problems? I mean, this being single. Let's be very clear though. Let's be very clear because y'all know I'm a journalist, so words are powerful. But being single is not the same as being in an entanglement. Being single does not mean you're in relationships with people, but you don't have you just don't have a one solid commitment. I think being single is actually being single. You may date. I'm single. I don't date. I don't do. I don't. You don't get it twisted. I do nothing. But
So I think what it was, Courtney, is that some people just choose to be single because they don't want their time perennially wasted over and over and over. There's some people who they've been in different situations. You may have been in situations with like five different people over the course of your life at separate times, but the results are pretty much the same because it's like you're falling into the same patterns like over and over and over. So sometimes even myself throughout the years, my last major relationship ended in 2017. And throughout the years, like I would literally, I'll go on a date here and there. And then when it ended up not really being much of anything, I would tell myself, all right, maybe it's time for a timeout. Like I'll sit out from the game for a few weeks or a few months and then just try to, you know, stick my big toe back out there and see what's going on. But I think that some people are fed up. Men and women are fed up. They're sick of it. People don't want their time wasted with the same shenanigans over and over and over. And that's why I don't think a lot
I
of
can't
women
do it.
I don't think a lot of women are mean on the surface, but if you come up to a woman in Publix while she's trying to shop and you trying to whisper sweet little nothings in her ear, she might be so over that. And that's why you might get the quick like, nah, bro, like she's not a mean woman, but you got to think she's probably already been through that 29 times already. So she's not interested in that. So there's some people because of past experiences, they just decide to put a time out to it.
Yo, I want to give a shout out. Thank you, Claudette May. I just made 1,000 subscribers. Woo! We did it,
Oh!
y'all.
Hey, it's been a
Woo!
long time coming. I'm proud of you, Courtney. I'm proud.
Thank you, brother. I'm about to cry, y'all.
I, I
I'll take the
see, I
$1,000.
see you glowing right now. You can barely contain it right now. Congratulations. For real. Y'all don't have no idea how hard Courtney has worked for this first 1,000 subscribers. She's been focusing on this. She's been building up her brand continuously every day, every single day. I personally reach out or converse with Courtney at least 4 to 5 times a week. And this is in real life. And every single day, Courtney just chips away at it, chips away at it, chips away at it. And she motivates me so much. And that's why I'm here splitting the screen with her, you know. They say iron sharpens iron, and Courtney is definitely the type of person that I've benefited having her in my life. So again, Courtney, congratulations to your 1,000. 1 million is next. You'll be at 1 million before you know it.
I'm not lying. That's what I told Miss Elite. Miss Elite said, Courtney, well, what do you want to do with your what you want to do with your channel? I said, I'm going for 1 million. I'm going for 1 million. No, y'all, thank y'all so much. My goal was to make 1,000 subscribers before 1 year back on this channel with this brand. And y'all, we beat it. We beat it by a month. We beat it by a month from when my first post was about why I am celibate. So now I made 1,000 subs with why I'm single and celibate. Hey. Y'all put up y'all glowers, put up y'all C's. Y'all saw I put up cats, right? Am I going to be a cat lady? Is that what my destiny is? I don't think so, but that's what's happening right now.
He's out there for you. He's out there for you, Courtney.
I know it. Trust me.
It was
like you just said, with a flashlight in the daylight.
Yeah. He's out there for you.
Let's talk about this. Does music, the popular themes in music and all, does that affect people just wanting to be single? Because you're like, well, you know, everybody's shopping, everybody is slanging pain, you know, all of these community, you know what's, you know, so why would I try to wipe her? Why would I try to lock this one down? Everybody is out here just doing whatever.
Yeah, that I'm just gonna tap on that briefly. You know, we're from the same place, so we're from the home of the city girls, quote unquote. And I can say there's the city girls, and then there's all kind of other rappers. You got I won't name them, you know, for certain purposes, but there's all kind of male rappers that are popular and all they talk about you know, the life, disrespecting women, this and that, having multiple women. That's all the lyrics are about. So on both genders have like kind of just crossed into this realm where it's like, oh, hot girl summer this, hot boy summer that. Like, oh, y'all do this, we're gonna do that. Like, there's for the city girls, there's a whole city boys group and things of that nature. I think it's all counterproductive, and it's not really inspiring anyone to want to, you know, seek out true genuine relationships, because you got all the men over here saying this, and then you got all the women meeting us in the middle saying, okay, we're going to start doing this. And yeah, things just get ugly, misconstrued, things get hazy. So yeah, I definitely think music plays a big part in shaping the perspectives of a lot of things. Music plays a big part on your perspective on sex, your perspective on drugs, your perspective on fashion, how you spend your money, things of that nature. A lot of these rappers in Atlanta, they'll walk around with the money phones. You'll see $100,000 next to their ear, and you know, people try to mimic that. None. I see at the bottom what rapper talks about being with one man, one woman.
I was just about to try to highlight that quote. Get into that. Do you know of any, Chris?
Not that I can think of, and I listen to a variety of music. My ear is pretty diverse. I listen to all kind of stuff from, you know, sometimes I'll listen to Lil Baby. Sometimes I might listen to Gunna. I'll listen to Common. I can listen to gospel. I can listen to J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. I can, listen to all kinds of things. And yeah, there's not really um the closest thing I could put my finger on. J. Cole had this song called Folding Clothes, and it's talking about, like, him being so into this one particular woman that he would even do something as simple as fold clothes for her, like fold her freshly washed and dried clothes, because he's into her. That's pretty much like the only reference that comes across my mind, of a man even speaking of being interested in a singular woman. Other than that, it's just the aesthetics of you being into one woman. It almost just doesn't even seem cool when it comes to rap music, you know.
If I'm not mistaken, though, Kendrick Lamar is pretty. He his, like, I won't say is all. Hey, I'm with my one woman, but look, is we put that on. It's like that's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. And I just love that he talks about cities of a relationship, but you still being in love. So I think Kendrick Lamar definitely is someone feel comfortable still. Even though most of my music I listen to is worship music, I still like listening to him. Molly Music does the best albums you've never or ever heard. I promise. I'm gonna drop that artist's name in the chat in case you haven't heard
Yeah,
of
yeah.
him.
Share that
Also,
with us.
Leon Bridges, Aloe Black as well. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man. Even though he had that
Oh
song
yeah,
called "I'm the Man," he makes a lot of
that
relationships.
that's that good, feel good, uplift music. I don't know if I play that type of music in my house or anything like that, but that's that's that good music that you can listen to when you're out and about, waiting for something, or waiting for your food to be cooked at a restaurant or something like that. So yeah, that's that good, feel good music. I agree with you, Courtney.
So let's see what everybody else is saying. You all, we're opening this up. So if you want to get on this panel and talk about why you're single, it's not just about us. Let's see what Black Intro TV says. A lot of these rappers are in relationships. They don't rap about it because it's not cool. I can tell you that that's true firsthand. So
Yeah.
I used to be a booking agent. I used to be a booking agent for our lives. And I mean families, twins, things that you wouldn't even imagine. You wouldn't even imagine. Who was it? Roscoe P. Coltrane. So y'all, I'm from Philly. So if anybody remembers Roscoe P. Coltrane, he had like twins. Like, and you wouldn't even have known he had all of you didn't even know he had that. But it was just so funny to
So
see
they
him with his
hide
with his
their children?
boys.
That's what you're saying, Courtney. You're saying I agree that a lot of rappers are in relationships that they don't talk about. But as far as the children, you're saying like that they hide their children?
They hide their whole lives, their whole families, because none of that is that. And women are told the same thing. Like Emil that used to rap with Jay-Z and all, like she had like almost like a grown like son, when she was on the scene, and you're thinking she just like, this young girl riding around the city. She's like, no, I've always had a job. That's why I think when she was caught like having like kind of like a regular life, people were like, oh my gosh, she done fall off, da 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 da. And she's like, I've always had a job. So like even when it was hard for me, even when going through the whole Rock Nation tour, for me not to have a regular job, like she's like, I was fighting myself not to put to put it out. applications for regular jobs. Like I've always just had them.
That's
Also
crazy.
too, young Jock. People were very surprised to find out that Jock had like all of these kids, ex-wives, current wives. They were like, is he polygamous? Like, what is he practicing? And the polygamy is very real. My mother actually was she was a victim of, she didn't know that she was getting married, that she had married someone who was a polygamist.
Oh man. That's kind of heavy, you know. Courtney, I believe it's on you. You were explaining how the polygamy situation impacts our community and it's direct link to you.
Well, I know with me, because I didn't know about what all of that meant until I was well into my 20s. In Philadelphia, they talk about it a little bit, freely, I guess, because I hadn't really.
And Courtney, you here with us? Let me try to get Courtney tapped back in. So briefly, let's just reiterate what we're here for today. We're talking about why we believe we're single and the different influences all across society. We have music. I definitely think social media, with the advent of social media has definitely played a part in why a lot of people don't feel it's worth going into relationships. Now again, relationships aren't a bad thing. Companionship is good, relationships are good. It's nice to have someone, right there with you, that's solid, that's down for you, loyal for you, taking the time to, learn the inner workings of you, and it's always nice to have that person that wants to see you happy. It's just that with all these outside distractions pulling in at us, like social media, There's different relationship statuses on social media. People try to mimic. People get cheated on social media like every day. Someone could be getting cheated on social media like right now. That's just one of the distractionary tools we have going against us. Some people don't like to engage in social media. There's the rap music that we already discussed. There's the general perspective based on the things you see when you're just out and about. When you learn different people and you have different observations, you're able to see um, that people behave differently. There's almost a misalignment or a miscommunication of expectations. I think far too often we embark on these scenarios where there's one person that thinks that they're in a whole relationship, whereas the other person, as Courtney stated, is just Netflix and chilling. So there's like a spider web in society. uh, there's almost like a lack of communication, too many distractions, things of that nature. But if you can take the time to navigate through all of that and learn who you are, I don't think that you can be in a relationship if you are not in tune with your own self, who you are, what makes you happy first, the things that make you sad. If you haven't gotten to know yourself first, I don't think that you should try to, you know, step into someone else's realm of life and try to merge the two. I think that you have to be able to, get to know yourself first, make yourself happy first, so you can know what to look for in the next person. And that's just where I'm at with that, Courtney.
Well, and you know what, you just said something very interesting when you said that you have to get to know yourself. People don't realize what that is. I don't think that a lot of people realize what that is. You guys, this is live and the link is out. So the link is live if you want to join the panel and talk about why you're single, why you think that is, why you think so many people are in this kind of single movement right now. What's interesting? Because I like to get into these numbers too. I'm not a big math girl, but when it comes to stats, journalists kind of have to know stats. And the fact of the matter is this: when we say, "Oh, relationships are they're non-existent or they're not as important anymore," we have to realize that. And when I say we, I mean African Americans. We have to realize that we are the only ones that are not marrying at the rate of other demographics. Now, because when it's talked about, sometimes it's talked about like, oh, no one is getting married anymore. Nah, they'll have us to believe that, oh, no one is getting married anymore. And it's not just us, but our numbers are down. Like, we were very consistent up until, I want to say, almost a decade ago. Up until a decade ago, we were very consistent that this certain percentage of our population did get married. And it didn't matter what was going on, who was president, blah, blah, blah. It didn't matter. But there has been a significant drop. And when statistics, y'all know, when it's numbers, significance to them isn't like, okay, 50%. It's like a 6% drop. It's a 6% drop. It's like a 4 to 6% drop. And when people are getting married, they're getting married later, and how long they're staying married. So I think that we have to call aces and spades, and we can't continue to say, oh, well, it doesn't matter because no one is getting married. No, it's specifically we aren't. So we need to address our own issues. I think that until we can really see those issues, we can't deal with them honestly. And that's why I said also, in regards to knowing yourself, that's the part of it. Just knowing yourself. that people don't know what that even means. What does that mean? I love what, let me get to Anthony Taylor's message. He says, as a man, you are different than Miss Courtney. He's talking to you, Chris, because you're the man. What is keeping you from a solid relationship? Is that a choice that you made? If so, why? Ooh, good question. Anthony's coming for it today. I want to give a shout out to literally one of my first subscribers. I believe he was the first 10. So Iron 2468, you've been rocking from the beginning. So I definitely got to shout you out on the day that I make 1,000 subs. He was literally, because the way Tube is, it didn't tell me who my first sub was, but it was like a cluster. So Iron was definitely in my first 10 people. So big shout out to you, Iron. And back to that question, Chris, for you, from Mr. Anthony. So, because we're going to move into the next conversation with being single, and being single. Single.
So for me to address Mr. Taylor's question, I believe that initially it was a choice that I made. Again, they say when you're younger, or I'll call it a child, when you're a child, you think as a child. So before I actually took the time to reflect on, dang, why is it that certain relationships almost have, the same sort of ending? I consider myself a good guy with morals, education, career, etc., but none of that matters when you're getting the same result. So I had to think and take the time to reflect. What were some of the things that I was doing in relationships? What were some of the red flags I may have been letting slide in relationships, things of that nature? So I wasn't being true to myself in those situations. So I had to just sort of take a step back and take a time out to reflect. And more recently, like literally this year, 2020, I'm feeling like I'm the best version of myself. And I've had the time to think. I know who I am, what I want, what I can contribute to the next woman's life, and what I would want her to contribute to my life. So with that, there's a young woman right now. I'm sort of in a courting process right now. We've been taking a long time to get to know each other, more like since last year. We met. We've been getting to know each other, and now we're just taking these steps. We've literally been having these sort of almost like red table talks between each other to literally try to get the most authentic version of ourselves. Because what we do know is that we're interested in each other. We just need to figure out a way to bridge that. I think as far as being in a solid relationship, it just takes communication. It takes willingness. It takes commitment. Commitment is the biggest thing to me. And Mr. Taylor, I hope I addressed your question to the best of my ability using my experiences. But I would say in the past, what made me take time outs is getting some of the same results, and that comes from doing the same things. And now I feel as though I'm doing some things differently. I'm taking some different steps as a man. I feel like I am the best version of myself. So now I feel like I'm ready to, step into a solid, committed relationship. I know how to communicate my wants. I know how to be even more transparent with things like that. And I think that it's starting to work out very well on my end.
We want to welcome to the platform Mr. Millennial himself, Mr. Neophyte, who is in a very much a situation. He is a married man. Go ahead, Brother Neophyte, introduce yourself to the room, and thank you again for being a part of this panel today.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thanks, everybody. Like I said, I am Neophyte. Obviously, that's not my real name, but hey, we're going to go by that epithet. Yeah, I am in a committed relationship, but it was not an easy path to walk, especially for myself. I've learned a lot, and am still learning a lot um, from my better half. A lot of things about myself. Um, and a lot of things that I didn't realize that I needed to explore in the first place. Especially, um, this is my second marriage that I've gone through. I've been through a divorce, so I've walked down that path, and I can tell you from personal experience that it's not a path that I would recommend for anyone. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Uh, but as far as the topic, I'm going to head. Now, I'm a little late to the stream right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of catch the wave, see how everything is going, see what kind of questions are being presented, and again, give my insight, how I feel about things, and try to see if I can take some notes from anybody else who has insight that I can learn from.
Hey, what's
Absolutely.
going
Thank
on?
you again. Anthony Taylor said, thank you for your perspective, Chris. Thank you again. I'm going to read some comments here. I love this room. It's very lively. So Brother Neil, right now we're discussing why are we single? I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you have gone through a divorce, you know that it's not something that you wish on anybody. And especially if you're doing it with children, property, things like that. I am a divorced woman as well. I was married was with my ex-husband for 15 years, married for 13 of those years, got married in college. And honestly, didn't know a thing, even though I was raised in a 2-parent household, I didn't know a thing about being a wife. Hey, Taylor, welcome, welcome, welcome to my official live as having 1,000 subscribers. Girl, you're in here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you were my third ever person that I chose to be a moderator. My first was Diamond Princess. Absolutely. So thank you for always encouraging people likewise to help me get the subs and sharing the videos. Absolutely. So Taylor the Natural says that she decided to stop looking for love and work on herself. Yes, of course. And you know what? This is what I think happens to a lot of people. I think this is what happens to a good majority of people that do want to get in solid relationships again. You do realize that you cannot do it if you don't work on yourself. But a lot of people don't know what that looks like. What does that look like? What does working on yourself look like? So I know what it looks like for me as a woman, and I know what that has meant to me, and that's the reason why I created the whole glow up kind of mantra, because I was watching a lot of YouTube videos with the hypergamy and the level up and the divested women and that sort of thing. And I said, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing more so is working on me. And from me making that declaration, I started watching Iyanla. I started watching Saucus Ray. I started watching Zaza more. And I always loved Zaza Ali, but I started watching more of it. I started binging more of that because I really saw a movement heading in a very opposite direction from where I wanted to personally be as a human being, not as a wife, not as a girlfriend, not as an arm piece. I wanted to be as a human being. I want to be a better person. I want to be accountable. I want to have a purpose-driven life. And I will say this, it's not been easy. It has been lonely, but a lot of times, but I have never been alone. I've never been alone. And you know what I've had guys literally tell me, since I've been on this season of singleness, things would be so much easier if you weren't so sincere. Oh, do I need to say that again, y'all? Because that.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
Let me tell you, I've heard this 2 times, and they were both Miami dudes. I'm not gonna come down on you again, brother Chris. But they were both Miami dudes. They were like, this would be so much easier to just like have fun with you if you weren't so like sincere. Like if you weren't. So they basically mean like if I was playing a game. Huh? What'd you say?
You're supposed to be sincere. Like I can't subscribe to that. Like you're supposed to be sincere, Courtney. So
Well, I agree, but what they meant was that if I was just playing the game like them, things would go a whole lot, smoother. So things would go a whole lot more seamlessly. But because I have been always about like, I'm very sincere with like, no, when I tell you I want to be married, like dudes, that's, like why we got to talk about that now? Oh no, we're going to talk about it now. We're going to talk about it as soon as, because I'm not going to get into a relationship with you. And then 6 months down the line, when I'm talking about, I want to be married, you're talking about, well, I just thought we were just figuring things out. I don't want to just figure things out. And like Tommy Lauren said, Chris, did you see that Tommy Lauren rant? Or Neo, did you see that Tommy Lauren rant?
Tommy Lauren, as in the Republican, the blonde hair woman.
Yes.
No, I don't listen to her or entertain her. She wilds out too much for me.
Well, okay, so interestingly enough though, she was talking about relationships. And basically what she was saying was that did we lose Neo? Neo, are you coming back? Let me drop the link again. She was literally saying some of the same things that Level Up, ladies have been saying for a minute. And if we know the Level Up ladies, most of them are, they're Black ladies. And so with seeing this white woman saying that she herself also could not get quality, professional, driven guys to commit to serious relationships, it was a real game changer. So just maybe, just for food for thought. I know you don't like her. Like I said, I was surprised too when she popped up in my feed. And I was like, why would Tommy Lauren be popping up in my feed? Even though I do have some conservative views. We've talked about them. They're not all the way conservative, but there are some conservative views. But I never ascribed to any of her channels or her posts. And so when she started popping up and this situation was popping up in my recommendeds, I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, she's just like going in. And it was just kind of off the cuff. It was really something. And she walked back her statements, but at the same time, they were out there. You know when the internets are undefeated when they're out there. And she listed some great things. She said, I don't want a pen pal. I don't want someone that's texting me talking about how are you doing? What are you doing? And I want to get together. I want to see you. I want to do things. I don't want a pen pal. She also, right.
Not to interject, Courtney, but I feel you on that. But you know me as a one-to-one individual, Courtney. I like to do things. I like to engage. So for me, if I'm into a woman, it's sort of boring for me to text her for 6 hours of the day, asking her what she's up to or how's her day. That's so basic. That's like a text from my mom. I can text my mom and ask her how her day went at work or something like that. But for the woman that I'm romantically into, I want to know like what's your availability like? Like what can we? I mean, are you feeling okay to get into something? Like let's go somewhere. Let's do something. We can hit the Atlanta Beltline. We can go to Midtown. We can go to the West Side. We can go to Slutty Vegan. We can do something. You go to Slutty Vegan, the line is always about an hour long. That affords you the time to stand outside, talk to that person. That's another opportunity to intimately get to know them. So there's ways,
Well, that's you, and that's why I like talking with you, because we have those honest conversations. But a lot of dudes, they do get into just kind of keeping a lady on the back burner, and the ladies in the front might be who they're actually seeing, but not the lady on the back burner. So let's see. This says people don't want to date with a purpose or live with a purpose. Too many excuses, narcissism, and victimization.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because you got to think about what it takes to live in purpose. To live in purpose, again, you have to know yourself, find yourself. You have to do things the right way. You might have to change things or change different aspects of your life that you don't, on the surface, you don't really want to, but to live in purpose, it might require a different version of you. And when you come in contact with a person or a situation that requires you to, sort of level up or step into a better you, people don't really want to do that. Or better yet, as a man, you might come across just a random woman and you might not feel as though it's worth it. Like you like women, you just want to hang out, but that's when you slip down into the whole Netflix and chill room. But I agree with what one of our viewers said earlier. People just really run away from purpose. So when you, Courtney, step to guys, with that solid perspective, you're letting them know what it is from the get-go. You want to get married, things of that nature. If those men haven't found themselves and decided what they, what their purpose is in life, then there's always going to be that disconnect between you two. And I think that's where things are going all over the place these days. We have a neophyte back with us. Hey, Courtney, you good? All right, you all. We'll have Courtney back with us in a second. That was just a brief tech issue. Again, we'll have Courtney back with us in a second. Please stay tuned. If you have any questions, please just drop them in the chat box or the comment box, and then we'll try to address those to the best of our ability. Again, please sit tight. Courtney is working her way back. We're dealing with just a brief tech issue. Okay, my take on emotionally unavailable men. There's so many angles where I could take this. One is men. I could say for where I come from, Miami, Florida, we kind of get raised not to be soft. Like you're almost taught that you got to be hard and to just thrive and survive in your environment, and that becomes such a part of your programming that when you come into a situation with a woman, you kind of don't want to let your walls down. You kind of don't want it to make it seem as though you're a pushover. You definitely don't want to use softer words. You don't want to say love, things like that. These are things you definitely should do if you feel how you feel. I just think that there's a lot of things in society that almost makes you feel stupid for being in love. There's so many things just put out there in society that there's all kind of titles and negative connotations that can get placed on you if you even show any sort of feelings. I have been in situations years and years and years ago back in my college days where I tried to show a woman emotion. I tried to be nice, only to get told I was too nice. So moving on to like the next situation, when I would reflect between situations, that would let me know, okay, let me, just try to scale it back just a little bit, be a little bit more reserved, and I don't know. It's just a tangled web we weave. These days in 2020, I feel like I'm more in tune with myself and more in tune with my emotions. So I don't mind as a 30-year-old man letting a woman that I'm, pursuing, communicating with her certain feelings or certain expectations, asking certain questions, things of that nature. These are the things you're supposed to do when you're getting to know someone. So an emotion plays a heavy part of that. You're not weak just because you display emotion. Emotion is it's a human characteristic. So you have to be emotionally, in it. You can't, if your woman is coming to you to express herself, you can't just be sitting there like a brick wall. Or if she's expressing something that you may have unintentionally done that may have triggered her in some sort of way, you can't just be like, oh, it is what it is. Like you have to, have the willingness to break that down, talk about it, discuss it, and do the things to make sure it's not an issue anymore. You know, Neil, you care to chip in on that?
Oh yeah, let me go ahead and bring my verbal baseball bat and be very blunt before I come in with a scalpel and be precise with my words. Um, what is it that women do to attract these men who are emotionally unavailable? Why are we attracting these sorts of pests? All right. What vibes are you putting out to make you attractive to these men who just want to take advantage of you? Now, I
I
don't want to
definitely
come
want to
in and
know.
say, exactly right. These are good. These are the questions that don't necessarily get asked when asking a question like this. Um, and let me come back and say that I'm not victim blaming, because when you go out into the dating world, you're exempting yourself from victimhood. You know the risk. Both sides know the risk when it comes down to dating. So we have to take that victimhood madness and throw it off in the trash where it belongs. Um, what are we doing to attract these types of people? Like, as men, why are we attracting women who are emotionally unavailable? Mainly because we're just trying to satisfy a need, a craving. We know that we recognize these sorts of people when we see them, when we hear of them, when we interact with them, we can pretty much figure out that this person is emotionally unavailable. What keeps us there? That need to be able to fix somebody, we can easily say that.
You're hitting the nail on the
Are we
head,
looking
brother.
at ourselves like KC, like what you said? Our emotions get tied up into how we pick the people that
Neo, I can't hear you. Neo, I know you're driving. I'm going to jump in there too, because Taylor, I want to say this because I'm going to be very honest with what I've seen. I know I've known you a few months now, and for what I've seen is, sis, you are way too nice to people that don't deserve your energy. I'm going to put it out there. I am. Yeah. Taylor, you're very smart. You're very smart. You're very articulate. You have a beautiful spirit. And where I met you is not where I should have met you. I'm going to put that out there just like that. I shouldn't. I know that. What'd you say? Chris? Go ahead.
No, I don't mean to interject, but are you suggesting that she shouldn't be, nice and what? I know you're not suggesting that she shouldn't be nice and well mannered. I've never seen Taylor a day in my life, but a man would like to come across, a nice, well mannered woman like Taylor who has been taking the time to work on themselves. I would just say have like just a little bit of a wall up, and I believe since Taylor has been working on herself, she is finding her little wall to put up. I mean, again,
right. I'm not saying she shouldn't be nice. That's not what I was saying. And I definitely do agree. And I can tell, with her working, when she, we've been talking for a couple of months, and she did say, hey, I'm going to be taking some time to kind of personally build. And that's true. But when I say where I met her, the people that, remember when you and I first started talking and I was telling you about all of the different types of like rooms that, with the men, and basically she was in one of those, it was that type of scenario, like that may not be the intent of it, but that's that type of scenario. Like the men are there to basically rate women. And please, everybody, I said rate, not grade, guys. Yes, RATE. RATE. Somebody please put that in the chat. That's what they were there doing. And I just was so uncomfortable with seeing the ladies that were in there, and they were like, well, what about me? How do I look? And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, this is who we're asking? You don't have to. Let me tell you, listen to This Is Me from the Greatest Showman soundtrack 20 times straight. There is nothing you are not worthy of. Nothing. You don't have to ask nobody. Somebody that loves you, you don't have to ask them, what about this? What about that? Because I know how that goes, because like I said, in my youth, I realized that I did a lot in my youth, even as a married woman. I did things in my youth to try to help me develop my confidence, but realize that developing your confidence is not developing yourself.
Yeah.
Say that twice.
True. That's true.
Those are two totally different things. And too many of us think it's the same thing. Developing your confidence is not developing who you are, what you are. That has nothing to do with it. Now, when you develop yourself, you can walk confidently in it. Don't get me wrong. You walk confidently in it when you know who you are. But developing your confidence is not what you are. Absolutely not. And why I love that song so much. What'd you say, brother?
No, I was just saying, I mean, as time goes on and you work on yourself, you end up taking your lumps. Everything in life is either a blessing or a lesson. And when you take your lumps, you learn your lesson from it, and you move on, and you move just a little bit differently, you know.
Agreed. And it's like I used to tell my okay, so I have a cousin, and I never do his name because I don't want to put him out there, but I love this cousin. Let me tell you, this cousin would come, check me out of school early when I was in high school so we could, just like ride to town. And I really appreciated him because he always just like talked to me like I was, like I knew something. Even before I knew something, he would always be, engaging me in these conversations. But he would, I would go back to home and visit. And finally, like I think about the third time after college when I was home and visited, which I didn't go home often a lot. I didn't go home often a lot after I graduated and visit. But anyway, so it was rare time. So I don't want you to think he was asking this advice of a teenager. We were having this conversation when I was like in my mid-20s. And he said, Courtney, I can't seem to find a girl for nothing here. Like, I'm not finding, any ladies. He was like, when I was in California, I was finding ladies all the time, da 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 da. And I was like, no, it's not the place. It's where you're looking. He was like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, let's think about it this way. When you are looking for meat and you go to the grocery store, where do you go to find it? And he said, oh, what do you mean? I go to the meat department, it's always in the rear. Like he was describing to me where it was. I was like, okay, perfect. Let's say you want to get some, you want to have some potatoes with, who doesn't like steak and potatoes? Where are you going to go get the potatoes? Oh, no, of course, I'm going to the produce, whatever. And I said, and where are you going to find in the produce? He's like, I'm going for the potatoes. And I said, well, what are you going to find? He said, oh, I might find some salad. I might find some mushrooms. What are you talking about? I said, okay, so how many times do you say I want steak and potatoes, but you go to the potato chip aisle? He was like, why would I do that? I don't want potato chips. My point exactly. You want a quality lady, but you up over here in strip clubs. Okay, you want a quality lady, but you wondering why you can't pick one up at the gas station. Well, he's talking, well, everybody drives. And I said, well, because y'all, I don't have a license. I've never driven. So I was like, well, I don't. And I'm a quality lady. My ex-husband and I met on campus at FAMU. At the time he was my husband. So I was like, but I don't drive. And, it's about where are you going to get what you're asking for? And that's what I mean when I say she was in the wrong place to find those answers. And really, they start in yourself anyway. So she has come and made the 180 and she's back to herself, which is where she needed to be. But you have to go to the right place to get what you want. So I told him, yeah. So he was like, so where should I be going? I said, try the bookstore, try Goodwill. He was like, Goodwill? I don't want to date nobody homeless. I said, homeless people do not shop at the Goodwill. I said, first of all, because he was really into petite, he liked a little body, but he liked them petite and a nice kind of physique. And I said, that's first and foremost. It's not, you have to get that out of your mental. I said, at Goodwill, you're going to find women that are fiscally responsible, So you can't say you want somebody to love you for you, but you want to go to Lenox Mall and you want to see the woman that's shopping and getting all the shopping together, and you think you're going to go over to her and tell her, love me for me. Okay, she's telling you what she's shopping for. But this is literally what he was saying. And he was the age that you are now. He was 30 and I was 24 telling him these things. So that's why I said, this is not just a now problem. This is not just a now issue. This has been an issue. This was years ago we were having this conversation. And I just know that it's still happening, but now it's still happening on a bigger capacity. Let me check these comments. You take the room for a minute. Let me check these comments, Chris, because we're coming to a close, guys, in 10 minutes. So if you want to get on this panel, come on up.
Yeah, so again, Courtney, thanks for having me today. I would say you definitely cover a good point where you say you have to match the environment or the location with your intention. And again, not to make excuses, but as you're growing up, you tend to take your lumps and you learn these things. And as you make your mistakes and take your lumps, you learn the things that you shouldn't do anymore, or the places that you shouldn't go. Because you're right, a lot of times these things don't sync up together. Like I went on this streak like 2 years ago where I felt like every weekend for like maybe a month I was going to different strip clubs with my group of guys. We would go to different strip clubs all over Atlanta and just have fun in the wee hours of the night. But then the next day we would talk about, we would try to talk about relationships and things like that. But we were just turned up last night where bands were making her dance. So that did not that doesn't align with meeting a solid woman. So I definitely think a lot of times what I've gathered from this call is you have to know yourself and your intentions. You have to take the time to get to know the next person, learn from your lumps and the environment. You have to be in position. You have to be in position to come across this good woman. You absolutely right. If I want a woman who knows how to watch her finances, then yeah, I think I would definitely want the woman who's thrifting in Goodwill, as opposed to the woman who has a Neiman Marcus addiction. How you
Come
doing?
on. Yes, thank you. Okay, so Brother Neo is back on to close us out for our last 10 minutes. Brother Neo, please, yes, respond to that. Did you find that when you were seeking a relationship, or before you were in your marriage, that sometimes you found yourself in strange places, but you're like, okay, why can't I find a woman here? And you're not considering the environment of which you're looking.
Well, I'll try to explain it as best I can. I know I kind of threw a bomb and ran away. My service dropped, but before I got a chance to explain. But my wife was my friend. I wasn't looking for a wife. I stopped. I had just got out of a relationship that had devastated me and essentially trashed my at the time my whole reason for even being. I was devastated, so I stopped looking. I stopped completely. I was like, I don't need a wife. I don't need a girlfriend. I just need some time to myself, and that's when my current wife was presented to me. Right. This person, she had my back. She's always looking out for my best interest, even when I wasn't. That was where the difference was. When I took myself out of the equation.
I love that. I love
right?
that. You're looking out for your best interest even when you weren't. That's beautiful.
Right. I had already neglected the hell out of myself. I had already put myself on the back burner for so long, I forgot I even was back there. And that's when I realized that, okay, I needed to work on myself. But then I realized that one of my biggest problems was lying to myself. One of the biggest hurdles I think people have personally, because I cannot possibly be the only person that has sat here and lied to myself. I know it's what got to be one of the things, because I start to see some of the same patterns, some of the same things that I caught myself doing when I look at other people. I read tarot, so I have to be able to translate this sort of pattern when I'm talking to people. And one thing that I continue to see every time that I've read a person is the fact that they are not honest with themselves, which is the same as lying to yourself. The biggest hurdle that I've ever seen is getting over lying to yourself, let alone anybody else.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a
So
deep one.
if you can't stop doing that, if you can't realize that that is exactly what you are doing to yourself, then you have no business in this in the relationship world trying to find somebody solid. You're going to continue finding those same sorts of debaucherous people who are only out for their best interests, or unavailable, emotionally unavailable people. You're going to continue to attract this same sort of person every time, consistently. It will never fail. It's like math. It adds up to that. Right? So once I realized that it was a garbage diet of garbage people that I was taking in, that's when I realized that my fast bore results.
You
And
are
I couldn't be
Come
more in
on.
love now.
Chris and I are both
you are
nodding heads right here. We're both into that. No, that's the truth. And that's why I say, honestly, Taylor, you are still, even though you may not think you're seeking a relationship wise, you are still surrounding yourself with people that have a garbage mentality towards relationships. That's just the bottom line. And subconsciously, you're taking that in. Subconsciously, you're not doing it, like, again, back to the grocery store. You didn't go into the grocery store saying, I want some chips, some sour cream to dip that in. I want some of this junk juice over here. Let me go down and see what's going on with the crackers out. Let me get these empty calories over here. You didn't go into the market with that intention, but that's where I'm finding you. That's where I'm seeing you at. You're hanging out in the junk food aisle.
Not to interrupt, but like, there's a really strong point that you're making that I want to make sure that people get. Is that if you go to the grocery store hungry, you're not going to come out of there with the best stuff for yourself. You're not gonna go in there with your goal enforced. You're going to be distracted by any old thing that comes along.
And brother,
same thing.
yes.
sir. Yeah.
Same thing applies to your relationship. You go into a relationship, or you go into that world looking for whatever it is that you're looking for, that strong, solid relationship that you're looking for. If you go into that world horny, then you're going to come out with trash. It's all. I mean, not to be so blunt, but that's exactly what happens. You have to really learn to focus your own energy to better yourself. This is your spiritual economy, right? That's both science, economics.
Ooh, I'm putting that in the chat, guys.
Biblical.
We need a
spiritual economy. I'm putting that in the chat.
We need a bomb button for all people. Any time neophyte gets on the call, we need a bomb button.
A whole sound effect for that one right there. I realized that one myself because I did that often as well. I mean, men, we suck at shopping. That's a stereotype. We're not very good when it comes to shopping and staying on task. Not until it's like time to go to, like, say, Walmart, right? You go to Walmart, you know what you want to get, you go in, you grab it, you come out because you got a project that you're doing. But when it comes to like grocery shopping, we're horrible at it because mainly we're always hungry, thinking with our stomachs. That's one of the reasons why I believe women are the best at grocery shopping. Not to put them in a stereotype, but because they usually always have a goal in mind when it comes to what it is they want to achieve for their cuisine for the night, for their dinner, right? And that's a really good lesson to apply to, say, dating. You go into a dating situation with the intention on creating something somewhere else, so you're not distracted by a one-night stand. Right? Satisfying the need at the time and not for the long term. Right?
Yeah.
Baking, not microwave.
Man, those are some great analogies.
Jewels. They were some great jewels. Taylor dropped them too. Taylor dropped the bomb for Neophyte. Thank you, brother Neophyte. Spiritual economy and discipline. But he also was piggybacking right on what Screen Learning said. If anybody wants to scroll up, with just basically saying that, hey, if you're no good to yourself, if you have no discipline, if you're vulnerable, if you're, you find yourself being peer pressured easily, you have no, you're no good to yourself, let alone bring it into the relationship. So you guys, it is officially 2:00. Chris and I, we've given you what we can about why we're single. What?
And this is a multi-part conversation. Like
it is
conversation. It definitely does not die here, because there's all sort of angles to singleness. We didn't even get into the notion of how some people, if you're religious, not me, but I've met religious people who carry the notion that you're single all the way until you're married. We didn't even get into that realm.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I always tell people, with me, with dating, I don't plan on. I actually, someone said, so you're telling me that you plan on just like marrying someone, and you're not gonna have sex with them. You're just gonna go on, be courted. And they're just like, that's so unbelievable. But I'm like, yeah, like I'm not gonna be sitting around playing girlfriend, playing wife to someone that I'm a girlfriend to. Like, no, like girlfriends hang out. I don't sleep with any of my girlfriends.
You get the milk for free. Why pay for the cow?
It is true. And you guys, for anyone that thinks that doesn't happen, I tell you, I was in a 3-year engagement, and I have been single and celibate ever since. It absolutely does happen. It does happen, and I don't have the type of time. As people say, I got time today. I do not. So we are going to be closing the show out soon. Chris, any last thoughts before we head out to our Singledom Day Saturday?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on. For all of you out there who are single, you know your own life. Just take the time to find yourself, get in tune with yourself, work on yourself. All of our processes of that does not look identical, so you're all okay. And Taylor the Natural, I'm really rooting for her. She's gonna win, So that's all I needed to say. And as always, it's always good to converse with you, brother Neophyte. You always drop bombs. Again, we need a bomb sound effect just for him. And we're
working on it. We gotta get our budgets together to get our laptop in our studio right first. Brother Neophyte, any parting words before we head off to the rest of our Saturday?
Just a light suggestion for the listeners. Something that I've done, and I don't want people to take it the wrong way because it could easily be kind of misconstrued. Learn what the Kama Sutra is. For one, Kama Sutra is for courtship and arranged marriages, not simply for sex. Okay, you really have to get past the different sexual positions that they kind of are known for out of that spiritual science, but know that it is a spiritual science, not just some weird sex thing. Next is tantric. Got to understand what that system is because it goes right along with the Kama Sutra. Being able to abstain to prolong the energy found in the sexual act, right? You're gonna find an onk there. Most of the people that are gonna study these things, don't be distracted. it's there for a reason. But yeah,
Okay.
those two things combined are great tools to have in your toolbox for trying to better yourself, and are good tools to have when you actually accomplish the goal of finding a solid relationship.
Thank you, Brother Neo. We have a couple of people we want to acknowledge. Believer72 says, I'm 48, never married, and no kids. Positives and negatives with both, but being single doesn't mean alone. Absolutely. Friends, family, church, etc. I agree, Believer, and I did see what you said, that you want to have a comment about the last live, which was the state of the melanin address. You can feel free to email me, please, at group glow up. I'm putting it in the chat. At gmail.com. Thank you so much for always participating in the stream and bringing your insight and bringing your faith as a part of the discussion always. That is how we met, on a faith-based conversation topic, and you are incredibly committed to making sure that people always consider faith as a part of their development. And I thank you so much for that. Okay, so other people, Caking 101, hello, my Florida sister. You all please go visit. If you have a wrench, please do not hesitate to drop your link. Thank you so much, Mama Maxine, for being such an awesome moderator, telling people to smash the like. You all, if you want more of the CNC show, please do not hesitate to email us at cncshowus@gmail.com. You want to say, hey, what some topics should be. Expect us back next Saturday, same time. And until then, y'all know what to do. Glow up. Throw it up. Amen. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming.
All right, everyone.